Thank you so much for joining us. Honestly, I've been stalking is the wrong word. I've been researching, and I'm really, really excited to talk to you. Get into all that you've done, but before we do that, I just wanted to ask you: can you introduce yourself and tell me a bit more about you, please?
Right, like a verbal CV.
Anything you want.
Right, okay. When you get as old as I've got, there is a lot. There's a lot to go. So I'm going to try and give you the highlights. So my name's Jaqi Loye-Brown, and I'm a writer, emerging writer from West London, originally from Birmingham. I've lived here like 30 something years. And prior to that, I've been in the music business, both as an artist and behind the scenes. And I have, before that, after the music, I went into TV for a while. So nice. I worked in telly, mostly BBC and a few other things, but I did that for a good spell, and finally wound up doing the thing I have a passion for, which is writing. So, and that's where I'm at now, both poetry, spoken word, and fiction.
What I absolutely love is every time I speak to a creative, it never starts out, I wanted to be a writer, bang, 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 bang. It's never that. It's always, I was a bit here, doing a bit of this, a bit of that, which I'm so glad that NEXUS, you know, that I've learned this through NEXUS, because before we all thought there was like a straight path and that we were doing everything wrong.
Yeah. So no, I didn't. When I started out, I originally wanted to be a makeup artist for films and television.
Okay.
But there were no paths to that from where I was from in Birmingham. No one did anything creative. You worked in a factory, or you worked in an office, and that's it. Or you worked for the civil servant, as a civil servant or local government. Nothing exciting happened up there apart from being in the music. So I did music on the side while I had a day job. You know, because after I did my art foundation course, I was meant to go and do my art degree, and couldn't afford it. Literally, I was like terrified. I'm going to live away from home, and my dad is not going to pay for this. No way. And every time I went for an interview, they said, can you afford your end of year party, your end of year dissertation and event? And I was like, £2,000? Oh, and that was then. That was ages ago. Yeah, and I was like, no. And even our tutors used to say, don't apply to St Martin's, don't waste your options, don't apply to the London College of Print, don't, you know, I'm dated when I say these names. I know they're all called UAL or whatever now, but at the time, it's like, don't waste your options. I could tell you how I got talked out of doing anything creative. So I don't know I know things are so different now. And if I was really young now, starting out, I love it. The social media and having the world at my fingertips. I mean, I've jumped on it soon as it happened. As soon as we were in the transition of new media, I got on board, and that's how I fell into writing my first book.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
I'm actually so excited to learn from you, because I think it's so amazing, and I hope this doesn't come across like in a condescending way. It's just the fact that it's a case of you've come to this and you're like, I want to be a writer, and you're just doing it, even though you've had such a long history of doing so many different things, which is something I don't think is encouraged enough. Like, I've always been made to feel that I'm failing because, oh, well, you went into teaching, why didn't you carry on? You did an economics degree, why didn't you pursue economics? It's always being made to feel like you're doing something wrong. So it's actually comforting for me to hear what you're saying. I'm like, okay, I'm all right.
Yeah, I mean, I always advise young people. I've done some voluntary work with young people in the past, and I've done lectures and workshops with young people trying to enter the media. Even though I was starting out myself, I tried to give back then. And my advice used to be, don't listen to anyone else, listen to yourself and your true north, and get in the building. So if it's a TV company, find yourself in that building, whether it's cleaning, doing the food or catering, whatever it is, just get in the building and network like a crazy one, and be prepared for various elements. So I just say, go and grab it. Don't let anyone tell you no. When I started out, I was very idealistic and unrealistic. I just thought, well, I can do it. Let me just see. And I just tried anything and everything. So it's sort of a scattergun, but I did not have the tools that everyone has now at my disposal. So I was writing lots of letters, letter after letter after letter. I'd like to come and work for you. What do I have to do? What O levels do I need? Blah, 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 blah. And work experience wasn't even a thing. So can you imagine what that's like? There was no such thing. And I did work experience very late in the 90s to get into the BBC. So when I got there, I was temping with an agent and with an agency. I got in, I was temping. I was working on Watchdog. And everyone around me was working for free. And I said, what's this free working thing? What do you mean? Work experience? Thought, where have I been? Work experience, working for free. I just couldn't get my head around that. And they were going, are you getting paid? I went, I'm with an agency. Yeah, I'm getting paid. So but once I was in, I realized, okay, so I'm going to study TV and production and do work experience at the same time. So but I was, a mature student even then. And that's how I got my feet in at the Beeb. I got in that building. I couldn't stay in there, but I got in. I tried to stay. But there were a lot of setbacks, and I tried to stay, but I couldn't. So, but it was when fast forward much later, someone called Matt Trollope, who writes, he's a journalist, and he was writing a biography about rave culture at Empty Ink. He set up his own label, Empty Ink, and I thought, I know him, I can get on his book, on his get published by him if I could just find the right material. And he said it has to be something to do with rave culture and rave music, because all of his material is in that direction. And I said, what about fiction? Can I do fiction? He said, well, if it's any good. So then I started looking, and I realized there weren't any books or fiction books about this demographic of old school ravers, acid houses, dance music, party lifestylers. Not at all. It's almost like it's an episode in a chapter or an episode in a movie or a film. It's a slither, but it's actually part of the massive culture and the lifestyle of people up and down the country.
Because I wanted to ask.
Yet it's missing.
No, definitely, because you wrote obviously the Portobello Novella trilogy on rave culture. By the way, I'm ordering those because when I saw one of the books were called DJ Whore, I was like, it was such a spicy name.
Who are you in?
It was really good. Honestly, I was like, this sounds awesome. So were you already interested, or was it more like he presented that opportunity and you thought, let me dive in, see what's going on? What was the thought process?
Yes, it was that way round. So and I thought, okay, well, I mean, I already write and I could write, and I wasn't stuck for writing, and I just thought I'll write to order. I just want to be published. So the DJ Whore name came up because I overheard it. It's what DJs call their fan base, it's very derogative. And I was just trying to reclaim it a little bit, but it's such a in your face term. I'm really embarrassed about it, I've got to tell you.
Really?
I regret it. Yes, I regret it. So I always lead with my other books, and then I come to that one last, even though that was the first one I did, because I just can't say it. It depends who I'm with.
You can say it with me.
Yes, I'm a writer. The latest one is called Grandmother, And right, okay. And I just can't get DJ Whore out of my mouth. But anyway,
serious,
so it's mad, isn't it? But anyway, you have an idea, and I just thought, yeah, it's in your face, it's punchy, it's what I've heard, and I was involved in the dance scene, and on different levels. I was a singer performing rave tracks, 3 words, hands in the air, Hitman and Her, that sort of thing. Yeah, so I was a little bit of a performer in that arena, but I wasn't a raver proper. I'm really into jazz and jazz funk. So when I immersed myself in house music, I realized they were using music, a derivative of jazz funk music. Right. And so I really embraced the house music scene, but it felt like I was stepping into a world, literally coming outside of mine and stepping into one. And I was like, I can't find the right words. So I made loads of friends in it. But it was stepping into a portal of a world where the DJ is king, which I won't bite into. I'm a singer. They play my records, not the other way around. I was like that about it. So I just couldn't idolize the DJ. So I came into it hearing everyone going, oh, he's this, he's that. Oh, he's fantastic. Oh, were you at this gig? Were you at that gig? Oh, do you know that this album, I remember when that was released, and everyone knew all these details. Everyone was such anoraks and passionate about it. So I always admired passion. But I never thought anything of it until I started writing this book. And I thought, there's loads of material, hundreds of characters. I've been up and down the country to different raves, manor house parties, boat parties. And when I was performing back in the day on tour, there's a rich amount of characters and culture that I could put into a book. I thought, I'm going to knock one out, watch me go. And I literally did. I just sat there once I had the title. Developed this character, and I put I drew from lots of people and added all these elements in for what I wanted to sort of tell. So I hope I managed to do that. It's a bit racy.
I'm all for it. Listen, the head got me, because I was like, first of all, the scene. Do you know what's so funny? I think maybe because I've grown up in a generation where the word whore is used so lightly, maybe it doesn't sting as much, because when I saw your face then, I was like, I said it so, I didn't even hesitate. You must say it.
Yeah, well, that is it. I that's what I was tapping into, because I know it's used readily, especially in hip hop music and such as into the wider world. That's why I drew on it. But I always feel I have to sort of explain it a little bit.
No, so I love it.
I'm going to stop doing that. But honestly, I've seen people's glasses fall off when I've said it.
It shocked me, because I genuinely thought there was a typo. Like when I was looking, I was like, oh, what's this autocorrected? But it wasn't. So I think it's so interesting. And do you know what? Massive congrats to you for like finding that opportunity and creating something out of it. And 3 books, a trilogy, not just one.
Well, there is a horror story along the way. It wasn't that easy, the writing my story and coming up with ideas for this fiction. That was the easy part. The hard part was when I had to pass it on to an editor to read through, and that's where the real work began. And that's what I would say to any aspiring writer: get your ideas done by all means, but the real work is in the reread and the re-edits over and over and over and over again. And when you think it's done, they still want to go through it and tighten it up. And the editor I had, she's from Mills. She was from Mills and Boon. And Mills and Boon, the romantic fiction lot. And I was scared. I was literally waiting for her to say no. And Matt Trollope said, if she doesn't like it, it's not going in. She has to approve it. I'm not just gonna, a standard has to be high. I'm not really in fiction. So if she approves, and she loved it. She said the racy bits were great, and that is a skill. So I thought, thank you. And that gave me the confidence I needed to plow on. And I've learned so much from her. And each time I've written again, I used what I'd learned. And so you just get better the more you do.
Yeah.
But it's never that easy. You really have to get an editor and listen to them. Yes, you want to keep your story true, but they really know what they're doing when it comes to things that you wouldn't have thought of in terms of continuity, etc. So
I love how real you're being, because I know it gets sometimes the whole process is, oh, this is where I was and now I'm here. And I love how real you're being, because people do think, oh, okay, you got your shot and like now everything's okay, and it's not always the case. So as an independently published author, can you tell me what other challenges you face, apart from obviously the editors and getting those opportunities? What other challenges do you encounter?
Well, there is an issue, because obviously Black female, didn't go to a public school. My education isn't it's not recognised. I am going to do a master's in creative writing in October. So I just thought I'd better just do that, just to prove, if I can only do that, to prove a point. But anyway, because this is the world we live in.
Sorry, Jaqi, did you not study here? Or...
No, I did.
Oh,
When I say not recognised, I'm just saying that, you know, if you go to a certain school,
right.
when it comes to the publishing world, and everyone's going on about it. If you go on every bit of social media, looking at the publishing industry, they're all going keyword diversity, and it's just flood. And I started writing before that, luckily, so I could hit the ground running. But I realized that there was still a little bias involved. And the bias is, yes, we want diversity, but, you know, are you diverse enough? They probably want me to write a story. Well, that's the feedback I've got. Or could you write something about your heritage, or something, your family from Caribbean? Have you got any stories there? Or it's like, oh, so you want diversity, but as a person from a minority, you still want me to follow a stereotype and ostracize it. I want to write what I want to write, and I really don't care what it is I write. I want to write fiction. I want to write fantasy. Is it possible, please? Can I write something in fantasy? Can I write a crime thriller? What do I have to fit into a certain narrative? And all hail, to all the diverse background, underrepresented writers that are out there, and whatever they want to, and whatever they write. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I want to write anything I like. Totally. And a lot of the characters in my first 3 novellas are white or middle class, should I say. There is a mixture, and I think that is controversial. Like, oh, shouldn't you only be writing about your people type thing? That's the world we're in. I'm just telling you, this is what I've been finding. It's the world we're in. And so after I'd done those, I thought, okay, I'll write a sort of fiction. I wrote an anthology, a poetry based spoken word anthology called Dirty Sync Drama. And I thought, if I can put that in place, then it just proves a point. There's my background. This is what I'm writing about. This is my political stance. It's impossible to be Black without being political. Impossible. When I was younger, I used to say, I don't want to get involved in politics. I just want it to be about me and my creativity. And that's that. When I was singing, for instance, oh, can you sound like Whitney Houston? They wouldn't want me to sound like Kylie. It was like, it was Whitney or Rita. Try and sing, sound like Mariah Carey. Try. And when Mary J. Blige came out, everyone said, could you try and sort of do it in sort of Mary J. Blige style? I could never just sing and be me. And I used to say things like, going right back, I used to go, well, Bananarama and Kim Wilde can sing what they want. And Janet Jackson helped me out because she sang in a more pop formula. And I was like, well, I'm more Janet Jackson. Isn't there not room for me? Have I got to sound like a gospel singer to be a singer? I do. Oh, and if I do, I'm going to have one hit. Oh, and if I have one hit, I'll go back to being background vocals or a guest vocalist. So yes, I'll keep walking through the mud, but it is muddy out there. And when I look back, I can see how muddy it is. But at the time, I just went for it. I didn't care about all these things. But now I'm firmly rooted in, to be me is to be political. There's no way around it.
Your very existence is political.
Yeah, it is. So I've written that book. So I've written the spoken word pieces exploring identity, and the Windrush thing really got me. It's never not going to get me. So I don't see myself as British anymore. I don't know what I am. I'm just a citizen of the universe. Oh, I can't play that game. I'm not playing anymore. I just happen to be here. I'm on location. Let's see what happens. So I'm not giving anyone the power to give and take. I'm just a human being that chanced upon where I am. So I wrote Dirty Sync Drama in defiance and exploring my hybrid background, because obviously I've got a Caribbean heritage, but at the same time I'm Jamaican. At the same time, I've got my British heritage. I went to a British school. I didn't go to a school in the Caribbean. So I'm going to get all my values are going to be intertwined and mixed up. And I think that's to be celebrated.
Definitely.
I'm just not going to. So I hope that book is good for anyone else who is wondering where they are, where they're at. I'm not wondering. I'm just telling it. This is where I am, where I'm at. Like it or not, this is it.
A lot of us feel like that though, because, well, I guess you're obviously clouded by who you surround yourself with, but all my friends are British in the sense that we've grown up here, but we wouldn't be classed as British, we wouldn't be claimed. So I'm Arab, and something I always get is, you're not Arab enough and you're not British enough. And it's like, okay, so where do you want to put me? So I think a lot of people completely understand where you're coming from. And the whole diversity buzzword is just a sexy phrase that we all have to fit in. If I'm being brought into something to make something more diverse, I have to bring my camel with me to prove that I'm diverse enough, It's stupid. So completely understand that. And something you said is, you said you're a citizen of the world, and one thing we saw is that you're quite well traveled. I know you did it for work and obviously exploring yourself. So can you tell me, what is the best country you've been to and why?
Okay, well, it's without question, because if you look at my passport, where have I been to the most? The country I've been to visited the most is India, Goa. Cool. Goa especially. So actually, I mean, it's cheating to say, oh, I've been to India. Yes, I've been to Mumbai, been to Delhi, and all the places in between, Chennai, etc. But Goa on that northeast, southwest, west coast, on the west coast, and it's had what is it? A Portuguese influenced area, I think, going back in history, which I haven't studied, to be honest, but it's very laid back. And the beaches are really the beaches are unkempt, the huts get put up every year, the bars, it's all very it's what I imagine Thailand to be. I've never been to Thailand, so that's out of a protest from a show I watched once. But I found the people to be so nice. They're just so nice. All of them. It's not one or two. They just want to help. And I've been to like places like Morocco and like even Jamaica, and people have been like, how much can you ask if, excuse me, where can I get to? Oh, that'll cost you $1 or 20 dirham. Money. Yeah, and India, given its class status and the wealth and rich and the religions and castes that make up the system. It's an ecosystem which seems to work, and I know it's changing now, but everyone seems to be accepting of who and where they are. But they're just so nice. It's so helpful, and so I like going there for the people. But where I go, it's pretty much West London on Sea. So it's like Willesden, Kilburn, Queen's Park, Kensal Rise. So everyone lives somewhere there. One day, one afternoon, I counted like 32 people in one go from around the way. so it's like we're tapping into something where it's just flip flops, a sarong, and you're off. Nobody's charging for the seats. You're not paying to sit down and lie down on a bed. You're not paying through the nose that somebody's coming around going, time's up. You sit there as long as you like. Sunset, clear all the chairs around you, but you can stay in your chair. They're not like, get up, gotta go. It's so chilled. And like oysters, like 6 for 50p. I mean, oysters, fresh rock oysters. Yeah, things like that.
It's for a rubbish, like, oh, that's rude to say.
Tell me about it.
An average oyster.
So, and it's a place because it's so peaceful, and the atmosphere and the colours, and that's so inspirational. If you're creative, you should tap into that because it gives you some kind of silence inside, a stillness. And then your ideas has room to come forward. It's so chilled because like when I get up, 1 hour, what I think is 1 hour, what would be 1 hour here? It's like 10 hours there. I'm like, what? I thought, time just shuts down. I don't know. Am I doing that right?
Yeah, 1 hour here feels like 10 hours, so it was longer there. So so it feels longer there or shorter?
No, the days seem much longer, much longer.
You've got it right.
I can't do time. I can't do money. I can't do the exchange rate. I can't do time zones. It's a weakness I have, but I admit it. It's a weakness. But yeah, so India, definitely my favorite place in the world. Yeah, love it.
I wanted to ask you, you already mentioned that you get a lot of inspiration from it. As a writer, do you walk around and like every interaction, every experience, every sensation, see what you go, oh, I want to write about this? Or is
always.
It it
is. Always. Don't say anything funny because it's going in.
Oh, really?
I take notes. I write.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because I thought I was stereotyping you. I thought all writers just walk around and go, I'm going to write that. I'm going to write that. So I wanted to see if I was wrong.
Well, I don't know what other writers do, but I just collect. And I used to be a bit of a songwriter. So that's how I started writing. I was songwriting. And that developed into spoken word further down. But I wrote every day. Sometimes I'd write 3 songs in a day. I'm always writing, and I get inspiration from television, from advertisements, from anything, or a turn of phrase, or just being on the phone, I'm chatting. And I said, oh my God, that's profound. Let me write that down 1 second.
Stop talking.
So, yeah, I've got to write it. I'll just take a note, or if someone else has said something, I went, hold that thought 1 second.
Oh, I love that.
And I save it for later, and I go back through my mess and I go through the notes. And especially if I've got a bit of a block on, I go from my notes and I'm going, oh, yes, grab it.
I imagine you have a wall in your house full of random Post-its with those strings, like the... There, see? Thank you. See, I could see it. I love that. So what do you plan on writing next then, Jaqi? In that world of absolute random quotes, what are you planning on writing next?
Okay, so once I'm immersed in the literary world, I have started writing. I would say I have 12 ideas on the slate. So 8,000 words, 12,000 words each of the skeleton, the synopsis of what I'm going to write. So I have a memoir in 3. So, which will be about the music business, and one will be about the media business, a satire, and the third one will be about jazz funk and finding myself as a youngster and going out for the first time and really feeling music and dancing. So I'm going to write those, but fiction-wise, I have a few on the slate. One involves wine, and one's a fantasy. I don't want to give the ideas away because they haven't been done.
No.
But everything I do is set in and around Portobello area of West London, near Notting Hill.
Okay, cool.
I don't want to research, you see. I don't want to have to research.
So
A lot of writing. Well, I'm thinking, you know, I've got to think. I can write fast, but I still have to research. And I don't want to research the 1800s. I don't want to research 1652.
I love how honest you are, Jaqi. I love this. I love it.
I think it's a Midlands thing. But I don't want to research. I want to talk about what I know, and I want to talk about things that I feel that are missing. Is it Toni Morrison said, if you don't see the book you want to read, you must write it. And I feel that strongly. So, what would I really like to read about? And just, it's not even about diversity, the voice. It's just these ideas. The ideas are so stale that we have. It's limited because we don't have enough people giving different takes on things. So I've got quite a few on the slate ready to go. But I need an agent. Yeah. So that's what I'm working towards. I need an agent so that I can start pitching my synopsis and 3-chapter stories and ideas. And it's quite a bit of them. Yeah. I've got quite a catalogue. So and if not, hopefully Empty Ink will publish them anyway.
Hopefully.
So it's a double whammy. But so I don't know what my next one will be because I'm going into full-time study. Cool. And obviously I'll work through one of my projects, hopefully exploring social mobility. Nice.
Honestly, I hope all of it comes to you. I hope you find the agent or the right person to publish it. I hope your studies go amazing. I'm so excited to order that book, read it, and hear more from you. So do you post updates on your socials as well, Jaqi?
Yeah, I do. On Instagram, Twitter. Don't look at my Twitter.
Well, I am now. You shouldn't have said that. I will now.
Honestly, I'm thankful for Twitter because I get to rant a little bit. Exactly. Sometimes I get asked if I'm a bot. I'm going, no. But
are you that bad, Jaqi?
I'm not crazy. I never swear. I just play with words. I like to do wordplay. I'm very careful about exactly how I write and what I put out. But politically, sometimes I'm going, I'm just going to have to say something. It's therapy. It's therapy.
It's true, though.
So that's what I use it for. And I'm not someone that's bothered about anyone trolling me or anything. I would, if I could put that message out there, is just to understand that trolling's it's a mechanical thing. There's teams of people working at it. It means nothing. It means nothing. It's just a job for some people in Yugoslavia or somewhere, sitting there writing nonsense. We're not to take it seriously. I just don't take it seriously. Look for the real people and look at the positives. So because there's so much more we get from social media that we really should focus on that, because we're all talking and we're all galvanized. So it gives us some kind of a power force to ask questions, So don't take anything personally on social media ever. Really? Yeah, that really don't.
Yeah, you've given so much advice, by the way, that I feel a bit silly to ask this final question, but do you have any more advice aimed specifically at people, authors, poets, that you haven't already mentioned that you think they'll really benefit from?
Yes, I do actually, guys. And I always say this if anyone asks me. I read a book called, a self-help book, when self-help books were like the main thing in the 90s, was having a resurgence, probably because of Oprah Winfrey. A book called The Artist's Way. It's quite known by a few people, written by Julia Cameron. Okay. And it's like a 14-chapter course. So, I mean, today she'd probably do it online, but it's you go through the course and it taps into your psyche, you know, when you first felt creative, your childhood and how you see yourself and how others saw you, your teachers, your parents, and it undoes any of the negativity that you're surrounded by. It undoes all the negativity you can get from day-to-day friends or day-to-day people in your path. And it calls them crazy makers, and that people that are really close to you, and they mean well, but as soon as you tell them this is urgent, this is I need to do this, they suddenly have their emergency and encroach on your time. And that, so when they teach you that you can look out, in this book, you must look out for it and don't let that assist your procrastination.
Yeah. And
you can help yourself move on and do what you need to do. The book changed my life, and it made me realize I've done, honestly, my name's Jack and I'm a master of none. I have done everything. I've done mosaic, I paint, I draw, do photography. I'm into anything that's creative that I enjoy, and no one can stop me and no one can tell me no because of this book. No one can, so I would recommend it.
That was a perfect point to drop the mic, honestly. I don't even want to say anything.
So that's why I wrote, when I went to write a book, I thought I'm going to write a book. No one can tell me no, because I read that book and it really helped me understand creativity is a cycle with the universe. If you've been given a gift, or you think you've been given a gift, then you should reciprocate by thanking them and doing that and exploring that. That's why you're breathing. That's why you're here, to do what makes you happy. Don't worry about anyone else. So that's totally my ethos.
I love it. Jaqi,
that's what I like to share.
I can't thank you enough, honestly, for making the time to speak with us. And I'm so thankful that Nexus obviously arranged this, because I've enjoyed speaking to you so much. I really mean
it. Thank you so much.
Boss. I absolutely love your energy. We always ask this question at the end. We would say, what is authenticity? I'm not even going to ask you, simply because I can just see your existence and how comfortable you are with who you are and what you want to do. And I don't think there's anything more authentic than someone that can embrace themselves. So I honestly can't thank you enough for your time.
Oh, bless you. It's such a nice thing to say. I really appreciate that. I really do. But thank you for asking me. I love getting asked to do things, but I'll take it. Thank you.
No, it's awesome.
Good luck, everybody out there.
Yeah, wish you all the best with everything. And we'll tag you and everything so that you've got this on socials as well.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jaqi. Take care. Bye. Bye.